The torque speed differential between 6 and 9, or if you will, atmospheric cycles. And I don't even know if I'll put this up because I know that by what I've learned, this actually came to me because of all the experiences that I've had hiking mountains, hiking trails out in the boonies, out in the forest, particularly with the U.S. Forest Service, chasing the spirit of fire. But even when I love to go out and be in nature, right? And I remember hiking a trail, the National Forest in Northern California, near a little town called Callahan. It's actually between Callahan and a place called Etna. And gorgeous place. It's up in an area that's known as the Russian Wilderness. It's a wilderness. And so there's a place called Paynes Lake, which is called a Cirque. It's a Cirque glacier. It's like from an old glacier. And it's called a Cirque Lake. Cirque, Cirque. So I had to drive out quite a ways and then find a place to park my vehicle, set my tent, and then I'm going to go for a pretty long hike. And this was like starting out at around 4,000 feet, I guess it was. And then, and this is how you get into the electrodynamically linked libraries of spin rotation points, actually. So now we measure elevation or degrees, on inclines and flat surfaces, right? The geometry, the holographic geometry of consciousness. And so I was camped out on an area that was fairly flat, and it had a big sign. And for as many years as I worked for the United States Forest Service and been to a lot of different Forest Service, national forests, and ranger districts, I have never seen a sign posted. So therefore, it was conspicuous by its presence. And it said that you were entering the Russian wilderness, and this is a spiritual place. Wow, a trail crew, somebody with the trail crew had actually acknowledged, the deep reverence that they have for nature as being spiritual in nature. The nature of the spiral, the nature of the spirit, the essence of the spirit. So that was conspicuous. Wow. I'd love to meet whoever it was that put that sign up. And it's known as the Paynes Lake Trail. And it is a steep trail. And this is where I realized this as it relates to going vertical on an incline or an angle, like between degrees. 0 degrees right at the center point of a vertical and a horizontal stabilizer with a gyrodome. As I was climbing up this hill, and it would sort of wind its way like this. And just to give you an idea of the steepness, it took me hiking at about 3 miles an hour. I think it took me, as I remembered, it took me the better part of about 3.5 hours to hike from roughly at about 4,000 feet to about 6,600 feet, to get to where that Cirque Lake was. But this is what I noticed. For every 3 steps that I took to go forward, up vertical, I was losing. And that is related to what? Mathematical nuclear sequence, order, and what gets recorded, and divine right timing. The timing factors when I arrived at that point. I'm still at 0 degrees when I get up to that Cirque Lake at Paynes Lake. But I acknowledged that I'm losing as it relates to what? The ATP Krebs cycle. I'm losing electrons. And this is where you get into the breathing. Because remember I shared the video when I was out on a fire line one day? And we call it the sixth wind, which is really 9, in the way that they flip it and turn it upside down. Number 9, the threes. When I reached my ninth cycle, 3, which meant that, man, I'm breathing. My tempo was that I realized I had reached my wind. Now we're back to breathing. Now we're back to Donna De Verona when I was being trained doing breath work with an Olympic swimmer, right? Breatharian form. That's right. I can go on forever. You want me to hike the mountains for the next 5,000 miles? I go on and on and on and on and on and on and on, just breathing. I remembered the Breatharian form. I never forgot how to do that. These are called frames of reference, which are called window frames of memory-coded memories, access to the records. I remember. I never forgot. I never forgot home base. The still point of breathing, an eternal state of peace. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Being with nature, the great living oversoul spirit of Mother Eartha, the inner Eartha, the inner lungs, the inner core encryption code of the Know Me Noble Planet Code. Have a beautiful day. We love you all. Be good to our inner selves. Muave.